I'm Teisha with Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, May the 6th, 2014. Israel celebrated its 66th birthday today. Independence Day began last night after the conclusion of Yom HaZikaron, Israel's Memorial Day, with the traditional torch-lighting ceremony held at Mount Herzl in Jerusalem, which this year paid tribute to the contribution of women to Israel, ranging from the fields of science and technology to culture and education. Among the torchlighters, acclaimed Israeli actress and Holocaust survivor Miriam Zohar, the first female major general in the IDF, Orna Barbivai, film director, journalist, and Paralympian Pascal Berkovich, who served in the IDF after making Aliyah from France, Israel's first Ethiopian ambassador, Belenish Zavadia, and Israeli Arab entrepreneur Hindia Suleiman, who started a women's business venture in her village and whose 3 sons all served in the IDF. Today, Israel's Air Force honored the country with an aerial display where IAF fighter jets, helicopters, and cargo aircraft flew over the Israeli coastline, as well as over the Knesset in Jerusalem. And in a special ceremony in Jerusalem today, Israel's President Shimon Peres honored 120 outstanding IDF soldiers for their service and contribution. Peres later was joined by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other officials at a singing independence event, where the leaders got some help from Israeli performers like Rita in singing their favorite Independence Day songs. This year, the event was dedicated to the late Israeli singer Arik Einstein, who died this past November. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu released a video message for Independence Day where he spoke about the establishment of the State of Israel and thanked Israel's many friends around the world for their support.
We've built a vibrant democracy in which freedom is sacrosanct. We guarantee equality under the law and the rights for every one of our citizens, Jew and non-Jew alike. We've created a robust economy, a global technological superpower. We've signed peace treaties with 2 of our Arab neighbors, while we quietly talk with many more. And while doing all this, we've enjoyed the passionate support of so many friends around the world, Jews and non-Jews alike. All of you who have united to speak out for Israel's right to live in a secure and peaceful state.
Israel's President Peres also released a video for the occasion where he said the state of Israel was in many respects a miracle, and there was much to be proud of, but also said there was still much work to be done.
Israel is really in many ways a miracle. We can and we should be proud, but never satisfied. Our task is not over. We have to work hard to achieve peace. We have peace with 2 Arab countries. We have to have peace with all of them. To pursue peace is a Jewish value, and we have to achieve it in our time. The more and the sooner, the better.
And U.S. President Barack Obama sent his warm wishes to Israel today, which he said is a country that thrives as a diverse and vibrant democracy. Obama restated U.S. support for Israel for a 2-state solution and for the values shared by Israel and the United States in a statement released for Yom HaAtzmaut, where he said the enduring relationship between our 2 nations based on shared democratic values and our unwavering commitment to Israel's security has never been stronger. Obama said we will continue to work with Israel to support a 2-state solution to the decades-old conflict, one that ensures that Israelis will live alongside their neighbors in peace and with security. Yom HaAtzmaut celebrations in Israel today saw thousands of Israelis heading to military bases for demonstrations and exhibitions, as well as to heritage sites throughout Israel, and of course, marking the state's 66th birthday with traditional barbecues in parks across the country. And the International Bible Contest was also held on Yom HaAtzmaut today, as it is every year, where contestants from across the globe participated in the competition held in Jerusalem. The winner this year was Canadian teen Eitan Amos. 18-year-old Amos is a student at Yeshivat Or Chaim in Toronto. He lived in the West Bank settlement city of Karnei Shomron until the age of 11 and plans on returning to Israel next year to study. He is reportedly the first Canadian to take first place in the competition. And in other news, French news agency AFP reports that senior U.S. officials are planning to travel to Israel soon, and that the U.S. State Department denied reports that the U.S. is dismantling its team of peace mediators after the collapse of peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians. Deputy State Department spokeswoman Marie Harf told reporters yesterday, "We're going to see where this goes from here and, figure out what makes sense in terms of staffing." Without giving any specific information, Harf said the State Department has some senior officials that will be going to the region soon. She dismissed a report from Haaretz on Sunday, which suggested that U.S. peace envoy Martin Indyk was perhaps getting ready to resign from his position. Harf said Indyk was back in Washington, but that the Israeli report was inaccurate. She said Indyk has, quote, returned for consultations, but there's no dismantling, referring to the U.S. negotiating and mediating team. In addressing the collapse of peace talks, Harf stressed that no one side was to blame and that, quote, both sides did things that were incredibly unhelpful. Harf also said that U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry was deciding whether to release a document that laid out some of the principles reached during the 9 months of talks between Israel and the Palestinians. And the U.S. National Security Council announced today that National Security Advisor Susan Rice will travel to Israel tomorrow. Rice will lead the U.S. delegation to the U.S.-Israel Consultative Group meetings, which take place tomorrow, May the 7th, and Thursday, May the 8th. Which senior representatives from the Departments of State, Defense, Treasury, and the intelligence community take part in. The U.S.-Israel group meets regularly to talk about bilateral and regional security issues. This is Rice's first visit to Israel as National Security Advisor. She will meet with Israeli President Peres and with Prime Minister Netanyahu. The German art collector at the center of the massive Nazi-looted art collection has died. Cornelius Gerlit, whose apartment was found to have housed a huge collection of art stolen by the Nazis, died at his Munich apartment today at the age of 81 after recently undergoing heart surgery. Gerlit was the son of Hildebrand Gerlit, who dealt in art confiscated by the Nazis and was known as the art dealer to the Führer. The younger Gerlit had inherited over 1,000 pieces of art from his father, including works by Picasso, Matisse, and Chagall, which were seized from his residence over a year ago. He had said several weeks ago that he would return any artwork proven to have been looted to their rightful heirs. Last month, the New York Times reported that the German government announced an agreement with Gerlit that would pave the way for the possible restitution of the art. It is estimated that at least 458 of the works found in Gerlit's possession were likely stolen from their Jewish owners by the Nazis. A delegation of 4 members of Congress visited jailed Jewish American Alan Gross in Cuba this week. Gross is serving a 15-year sentence for, quote, crimes against the state after being arrested in 2009 for providing computers and internet access to the Jewish community there while working as a government subcontractor for the U.S. Agency for International Development. Representatives Emmanuel Cleaver of Missouri, Sam Farr and Barbara Lee of California, and Gregory Meeks of New York met with Gross, who is currently in a prison hospital. The delegation also met yesterday with Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez and said they were hoping to start some serious negotiations on securing Gross's release. The U.S. State Department released a statement on Friday, May the 2nd, which was Gross's 65th birthday, calling on the government of Cuba once again to release him. And turning now to our Shalom TV programming for tonight, May the 6th, more special programming for Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Day, including at 6:30, Wall Street Journal foreign affairs columnist and deputy editorial page editor Bret Stephens talks about Israel's survival and the two-state solution. At 7 o'clock, Executive Director of the American Jewish Committee David Harris talks about understanding Israel, followed at 8 o'clock by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's address from the Jewish Federations of North America's General Assembly 2013 in Jerusalem. And then at 9 o'clock, L'chaim features veteran Israeli diplomat, the late Abba Eban. That's at 9. For more special programming, please check the website, shalomtv.com. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, May the 6th, 2014. I'm Teisha Bader.